The equipment you will need to perform this test includes an automatic tamper device with base plate to hold 6-inch diameter molds. The tamper device should be equipped with a 10-pound rammer with an adjustable height of fall. The striking face of the rammer should conform to a 43-degree segment of a 2.9-inch radius circle. Be sure to bolt the base plate of the tamper to a rigid foundation, such as a concrete block with a mass of no less than 200 pounds. Use an alternate foundation support, such as a rigid stand or table, only if the maximum dry density produced is within 2% of that produced by an automatic tamper bolted to a concrete floor. A rigid metal compaction mold with a 6-inch inner diameter and an 8.5-inch height. The mold should also have a removable collar. A metal stand with a set of standard spacer blocks 1, 4, 6, and 11 inches, accurate to 1/1000th of an inch. And a micrometer dial assembly with a 2-inch travel for determining the height of specimens. A balance Class G1 in accordance with Tex-113-E, the balance should have a minimum capacity of 35 pounds. An extra base plate secured to a rigid level stand to hold the mold. A hydraulic press to extrude compacted specimens from mold. A drying oven maintained at 230 degrees Fahrenheit. Wide and shallow metal pans with lids for mixing and drying materials. Non-absorptive bowls with lids. A set of standard U.S. sieves meeting the requirements of Tex-907-K in the following sizes: 1 3/4 inch, 1 1/4 inch, 7/8 inch, 5/8 inch, 3/8 inch, number 4, and a number 40 sieve. A sprinkling jar and wash bottle. Clean circular porous stones, slightly less than 6 inches in diameter and 2 inches high. 6-inch diameter non-porous paper discs. Use Gilson MSA 121 or the equivalent. A supply of small tools, including a level, putty knife, spatula, horsehair bristle brush, plastic mallet, open-ended wrenches, crescent wrenches, Allen wrenches, and feeler gauges. A TxDOT-approved soil compactor analyzer with sensor rod assembly, control box, and computer. This also includes the compaction device analysis system software. The software is capable of turning the automatic tamper off once the required compactive energy has been delivered to the layer being compacted. The sensor rod assembly consists of sensing rod, magnetostrictive linear displacement transducer, powder-coated frame, circular magnet, magnet mount, cable, and miscellaneous mounting hardware. The control box includes the enclosure, power supply, data acquisition card, miscellaneous electronics, and emergency stop. The computer should have the most recent TxDOT SCA version installed. This software is maintained by the Construction Division Materials and Pavements section. You will also need the reference guide for the soil compactor analyzer. Finally, this procedure requires a slide finishing hammer that meets the dimensions shown here. This illustration can also be found as Figure 1 of the written procedure. The drop weight will be 10 pounds and the drop height will be 18 inches along a vertical fixed shaft. The finishing tool will have a smooth, flat surface. The weight of the entire slide finishing hammer will be 23.4 pounds. It is necessary to calibrate and maintain all equipment required by this procedure in accordance with Tex-113-E. Perform the following additional activities to properly maintain the automatic tamper. Wipe the guide rods and disc with a wet rag after each use. Wipe the guide rods and disc with alcohol weekly to prevent the buildup of oil and residue. Lubricate the guide disc prior to compaction with a graphite pencil. The rods will become lubricated by picking up a bit of the graphite from the edge of the disc during compaction. Check the guide bushing located on top of the compactor weekly. There should be very little play between the shaft and the guide bushing. The acceptable clearance between the shaft and the guide bushing is between 7/1000ths of an inch and 13/1000ths of an inch. Replace the guide bushing if the clearance is outside these limits. Check the guide rod brackets weekly. There should be very little to no play between the rods and the brackets. If the play is excessive, replace the brackets. Check the spacing between the guide discs and rods weekly by pushing the shaft or disc towards two of the guide rods. Measure for total clearance of 16/1000ths of an inch with feeler gauges. If the total clearance exceeds 16/1000ths of an inch, adjust the spacing until it meets this tolerance.